What's up guys, and welcome back to my Lorethrough series. Today we're gonna head down the crater Radahn's death caused in Limgrave to find the hidden treasure of Nokron for Ranni. If you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe as I upload a new video every Thursday. Before we go, we can have the chat with EG that I forgot to have in my videos about Radahn and the aftermath of his death.
You finally come. Blythe told me everything. You've defeated General Radahn, unlocking the stars. The General was blighted by scarlet rot and driven to madness. But not long ago, he was hailed as the mightiest demigod of them all. There is no parallel to your achievement, nor to Lady Ranni's acute judgment of character. Thanks to you, Lady Ranni's fate once again stirs, and the path to Nokron has opened. Descend underground, where the fallen star struck Limgrave, and make it yours. The precious treasure of Nokron. Now the festival is over, and General Radahn is defeated. Jeren's duties are finally fulfilled. Though we served different masters, I could see he was truly adept in his role. Now the time has come to remind him of an old promise made. With the stars of fate set into motion, a certain sorceress is dispossessed of her immortality. Finally, we can be rid of a long-standing Carian weed.
On our way down, we discover a message left by Blythe, saying that he will join us in Nokron later. So we head down, alone for now, and find some ruins of a lost part of the city. The fallen hawks we find here are not its normal inhabitants, but rather a band of soldiers that were sent to explore the Eternal City. After their last torch burnt out on their long search, they started burning the bones of their fellows as kindling. This is why they wield Ghost Flame, and are now fated to dwell in the underground for eternity. The actual inhabitants of the Eternal City are the Nox. We've already fought a Nox Swordstress and a Nox Monk at the Chair Crypt of Celia, with the Nox Monks being lower-ranked Nox Clerics and the Swordstresses personal guards to the Night Maidens, which we encounter for the first time in Nokron. These Night Maidens are all female and the highest-ranked clerics in Nox society. As for the Nox as a whole, they invoked the ire of the Greater Will a long time ago and were banished deep underground, forced to live under a false night sky. Considering that the Greater Will is basically God, it is possible that this can be taken quite literally, that the Greater Will literally made all their eternal cities sink underground. The goal of the Nox is, and has always been, to have the lands between ruled by a Lord of Night in Age of the Stars. I guess that's why they were punished with a false night sky and fake stars. We have seen the Nox make plenty of attempts to create a Lord of Night, like the Albinorics and the Dragonkin soldiers, but we will see later in the video which attempt in particular sealed their banishment. Proceeding further down, we encounter a peculiar foe, ourselves. The Mimic Tears, like most things that are creations of the Nox, are desperate attempts by the Eternal City to forge a lord. Later on, we can also obtain the Mimic Tear as a spirit summon. This is the best spirit summon in the game, in part because it costs HP instead of FP to summon, making you not need to level up Mind. There's actually a cut questline related to this particular Mimic Tear, Asimi. I don't want to speculate about cut content too much, but it does feel like the fact that she costs HP instead of FP is related to this quest where she would have become a part of our body as a sort of benevolent parasite. To get to the Mimic Tirash though, we have to first get through another ancestral forest. I don't want to talk about this one too much, since this video is mainly about the Eternal City and Ranni's quest. In short, it pretty much has the same puzzle as the one in Siofra River, as it is part of the same forest, perhaps being separated by the Siofra River forest sinking slightly further underground than the Nokron forest at some point. The difference is the presence of ancestral shamans and their beautiful chants, possibly improving their mysterious ancestral ritual and making the ancestor spirit found here much stronger, as it is a regal version that has the power to absorb the life force from all the animal spirits around him, gaining new moves from the animals he absorbs, like the rabbit, the boar, and worst of all, the goat. Defeating him grants us the remembrance of the regal ancestor. Now back to the task. To the left of the forest we can descend some rooftops to the main part of the city that's still somewhat intact. The Knight's Sacred Ground. Interestingly, all the enemies here, apart from the Nox, are just silver tears like the Mimic, as they can be shaped into literally anything. This includes the Big Ball, aka Silver Sphere. The fact that it drops a larval tear upon defeat proves that it's just a silver tear as well. Some of these silver tears have even already infiltrated the lands above as special shape-shifting enemies that drop a larval tear when defeated. Regardless, once we get to the chair crypt in the Knight's Sacred Ground, we find the hidden treasure of Nokron, the peak of the Eternal City's attempts, the Greater Will, the Finger Slayer Blade. It can only be wielded by those with a fate, like Ranni, and can harm the Greater Will and its vassals. It's already blood-drenched, so it has been used before, apparently. No doubt the making of this weapon and whatever vassal of the Greater Will was harmed is the reason why the Nox were banished underground. Having found this treasure, we now have a decent idea what exactly Ranni is up to. She wants to somehow rid the Greater Will of the power it has over the lands between, and probably also start an Age of the Stars, whatever that entails. Before returning the treasure to Ranni, however, we do grow a bit suspicious. Blaidd never actually showed up, so what's happened to him? We can find him locked in the same Everjail that Darrowil was originally locked in back in Limgrave.
Oh, it's you. It's me, Blaidd. Old Iji trapped me here. Told me I'd bring naught but bale to Lady Ranni. But there's no chance that could happen. I'm part of her being. A very shadow. I thought old Iji knew as much. Honestly, I don't know what's going on anymore. My thanks, friend. I'm going to see Mistress Ranni now. I don't know what came over old Iji, but even if the odds are slim, I need to check the Mistress is safe. Now, Ranni can finally set in motion the fight against her fate she's dreamt of for so long.
But why would Iji betray Blaidd, his own friend since childhood? After releasing Blaidd, we can confront Iji in his normal spot.
I presume you've spoken with Blaidd? Very well. There is something you should know. The Two Fingers gave Blaidd to Lady Ranni as a faithful follower. Her very shadow, incapable of treachery. But if Lady Ranni, as an Empyrean, resists being an instrument of the Two Fingers, the shadow will go mad, transforming from a follower into a horrid curse. But such is his destiny. In such matters, Blythe's own thoughts hold no weight. It pains me so. But he must be neutralized. For Lady Rani's sake.
If everything E.G. says is true, then it does make sense that he locked Blythe up for his own good. But we don't know who to believe just yet, so we will see whether releasing Blythe turns out to be a mistake. For now, let's give Rani the Fingerslayer blade.
Ah, it was thee, not Blythe it seemeth. Even in my slumber I sensed it. It is in thy possession, is it not? The hidden treasure of Nokron. My thanks. Finally all the pieces are in place. Soon must I begin my journey. Upon the dark path only I may tread. Ah, but before I leave, I must entrust thee with this. Take it. My discarded flesh lieth beyond the seal unlocked by it, upon which is carved the curse mark of thy desire. I can fathom what thy purpose might be. Neither of us is welcomed by the brighter path, I see. You may leave now. It was but brief, but thou gavest me fine service. What is it? Thy purpose in approaching me was to obtain the curse mark, was it not? You may leave now. I too am to depart on a journey. Upon the dark path only I may tread.
Chances are this dialogue sounded a lot different during your playthrough. Even at this point, having started the Rani quest via Roger's quest gives unique dialogue that makes everything that happens in this quest have a lot clearer of a purpose. The inverted statue that she gave us reveals the hidden secret of the Carian study hall that I talked about when we first visited it. Flips the study hall upside down, meaning after we once again defeat Preceptor Miriam, we can descend but to the top of the tower, which actually turns out to be a bridge leading to the Divine Tower of Liurnia. Rani is a demigod that used to have a great rune after all, so it does make sense that she has a divine tower. After fighting our way past the Godskin noble, who I should rather talk about in a future episode, as the Godskin faction are worth at least one video on their own, we ascend to the top to find Rani's real body alongside her half of the Curse Mark of Death and a Stargazer heirloom. Remember, Fia claimed Godwyn's half of the Curse Mark of Death from D 2 episodes ago, so all that's left for us to do now is to find her, to unite the two halves, to fulfill Roger's final wish, and save those who live in death. His plan to enter Rani's service to get her curse mark has worked beautifully. Throughout today's errand, we unlocked two more paths, a side path in Nokron leading to the Siofra Aqueduct, and a portal in Rena's Rise next to Rani's Rise. Both those paths are still a bit above our pay grade though, so we will come back to those later. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If not, tell me how I can improve these videos in the future. I'll see you next time when we take revenge on Lanciax and properly kick off our journey through the Altus Plateau. Bye bye!